on the new Talk Radio 1450 WCTC.
It is 8:37, and we are back on Jersey Central on the new Talk Radio 1450 WCTC, the voice of Central Jersey. Good morning to you. It's Bert. We'll do our Need to Know Things coming up a little bit later on in this 8:30 half hour, as we always do. I guess it was about a weekend or so ago, found myself just kind of channel surfing on television. And it's one of these PBS specials where they have these all-time great legendary bands sort of performing. And I see there's a segment with the Duprees, and there's my good friend Tony Testa on TV. And I'm thinking, I haven't heard from Tony Testa in a while. Well, wouldn't you guess who emails me about 2 days later to tell me about finally a book that the band, the group, the Duprees, have made available. And here to talk about it and some other things, too, on the Jersey Central Newsmaker Hotline. Great pleasure to welcome back our good friend from the Duprees, Tony Testa, who's here on WCTC. Tony, good morning. It's Bert. How are you?
Good morning, Bert. How are you?
Man, it's good to talk to you, and your timing could not be any better. Just seeing you on TV and then getting an email from you a day or so later was pretty incredible. So thanks for thinking of me and reaching out, man. I really appreciate that. A gig coming up in March. We'll talk about that in a second. But the Duprees celebrating their fans with a book that the group has finally put together. Talk about this book, Tony.
It's kind of funny how it came about. I met my collaborator with the book on the last malt shop cruise last November. He and his wife were celebrating their anniversary, and he rewrote, when they first met 25 years ago, he rewrote the words to You Belong to Me to reflect their relationship, and he called it It Was Meant to Be. Long story short, I rewrote the words to kind of make them flow a little bit better. He was delighted, and we performed it like in one of the alcoves on the ship for him and his wife, and big crowd around us. Again, long story short, he said, I'm a writer and had this idea for a book, but I need you to collaborate with me. And so we did. The book's called Timeless. You Belong to Me, a half-century love affair between a song, a vocal group, and you, meaning the fans. And it's been a labor of love. We got solicited so many emails and Facebook posts and whatnot from fans of the song, of the group. And when we published it, they get a free book, obviously. But and there's history about the group, history about the four of us, fun stuff. And it's going to be, it's available now for pre-order, but it's probably going to be out publication next week sometime.
Wow, that's great. And the songs and the music of the Duprees, Tony, has meant so much to so many people. And you look at, here's a guy that took one of your songs and customized it for his own life and his own relationship, which is just remarkable. And to get this is a lot of this book is they call it crowdsourcing. I get it's submitted from fans and published in this book here.
Exactly, and it's been a labor of love. I mean, some of the stories are so touching. I'm going back to what the song has meant to servicemen back in the Vietnam War, even the Korean War, because there was Joe Stafford's version of the song before the Duprees. Very touching, and well, we see it all the time when we perform and we do that song. As soon as that first horn section signature sound comes on, you see husbands and wives holding hands or putting their heads together, even sobbing a few tears. And it's really, after all these years, it's still remarkable to see.
I think I melt. I think I feel myself melt a little bit, Tony, every time I hear those first couple notes. And I've heard them in Newark, at the PNC Bank Arts Center, at State Theater, where you guys are coming back soon. Something about that song just resonates so wonderfully with so many people.
Yeah, it has. And along with the book, by the way, we're adding a bonus CD with You Belong to Me. And I canvassed our other CDs that we've been so fortunate to record in the last 20-plus years. And I took some really, really, really beautiful, more timeless love songs as a bonus CD. So it's a nice little project.
Beautiful stuff. And again, it's called Timeless, You Belong to Me, a half-century love affair between a song, a vocal group, and you. And it's the Duprees giving back and celebrating with their fans in their very first book. 40 stories of photos, mostly in color, submitted. A little bit of the history of the band, a crossword puzzle, a little trivia test in there. And even recipes, Tony, you share some of your favorite recipes in there?
They were held very closely guarded by me until now.
Very good. But get your hands on this book. This is an absolute must-have for any fan. Is it something that you guys maybe heard about a lot of times over your career, Tony? Like, oh, you guys have done so much. Why don't you put a book together? Did it ever cross your mind that you'd be an author someday?
Well, no, it never really went to the front of my mind, but yeah, we did get comments like that, and especially to me. I mean, I've been around a long time, so there are a lot of stories that I could have written about, but I had to hesitate.
Well, you're going to get your hands on this book, and you're going to love what Tony and the other guys in the group have to share. And even a very touching story, Tony. Anybody who's familiar with, there's a 10-year-old boy who you have a very special connection with, and I want people to read about this very special story in the book here that talks about this very young fan.
Yeah, he's had some health problems, and one of his longtime hopes was to see the Duprees, and his parents said, "Could you dedicate a song to him?" It was a very special night when we met him. Yeah.
The pollen count in the room is getting a little high for me right now, Tony. Just thinking about this story here, but. Check out the book. Tony said it's going to be available next week, so you want to definitely get this out. A must-have for any fans. And if you want,
find out more information just by going to Duprees.com. How to order it now, and they'll see our entire schedule, which obviously will have the book available at our concert appearances as well.
Very cool. And speaking of concerts, we're real excited to welcome Tony and the rest of the Duprees back to State Theater, New Jersey. Saturday evening, March 3rd, is part of the Golden Oldies Spectacular. No, there's a spring and a fall show that comes to State Theater. The spring show is coming up on March 3rd. We're going to talk more about that tonight on the All Access with State Theater radio show. But, Tony, you guys love doing these Golden Oldies shows and taking the stage in New Brunswick. It's a thrill for the Duprees, right?
Oh, it always is, and especially State Theater is such a beautiful venue. And whenever we get to do these shows, obviously it's like old homecoming, because we, again, hook up with people from the Bridge. Shirley Austin Reeves is just a delight and a legend in that she just keeps on going and going. The Marcells, the Capris, Cleveland Stills, and the Doves. This man refuses to die, and I mean, God forbid, but they still sound tremendous.
Yeah, so
show.
Get to the State Theater website for some tickets for that one. But pack along a lot of books that night, Tony, because I think you're going to be moving a lot of books in the lobby that night.
Hopefully we will.
Yeah, Tony Testa from the Duprees. Congratulations on this book, my friend, and nothing but success going forward for you guys. And we'll see you real soon. And thanks so much for reaching out. It's always a pleasure to hear from you, my friend. All right?
You are one of the best, Bert. We love you.
Thank you, Tony. Right back at you, my friend. And thanks so much for the kind words. All right. And again, of course, you could visit Duprees.com.